The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
Hi everyone, I am Macca 19 and this is the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast coming to you live once again on Port Fan Radio. And joining me once again as co-host, as always, it's Fishing Richard. How are you, mate?
Woohoo, Macca! I'm excited. I've decided I'm going to do something new tonight.
Awesome.
Against your wishes.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not actually.
I can always put you on mute.
Hey, come on. Is that what you've been doing every week?
I've got the power!
He's got it back, the control freak. I'm gonna tweet Port players during the show tonight and see if any will retweet or actually comment to something and see if I can get any action from the Port boys. So let's see what happens.
That's it. Well, Scotty on Twitter is pumped. He says, I'm pumped, let's do it. So let's get into it. And look, we've got a guest on this evening. He's back for the second time this year. We're talking to Chad WinGOAT.
Hey boys, thanks for having me back.
Too easy, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.
Have you seen the season so far?
That crazy goat audio clip, Macca. That makes me laugh all night. Anyway, sorry.
So how have you seen the season so far, mate?
Well, it wasn't the best first 2 weeks, but we've really consolidated the past three and we've got our heads above water now finally. So pretty pleased with the start. I mean, 3-2, you'd probably take that at the start of the year. Maybe a cheeky 4-1, but it's not too bad. It's not all doom and gloom.
It's doable. You take it every time, I reckon.
Yeah, given our death start.
So you're saying it's a Pamela Anderson, is that what you're saying, Macca?
If you want to go in that direction, then yes, I guess.
Okay. Cool banana.
That's a name I haven't heard for about 15 years.
Yeah, I'm showing my age, aren't I?
You certainly are.
I don't know. What's the modern equivalent of Pamela Anderson these days?
I don't know. Probably Miranda Kerr, I guess.
Taylor Swift or something?
Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm big.
Go down there.
Kim Kardashian, I don't know.
Kim Kardashian would be the Pamela Anderson of modern age.
That was my first guess.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like that shout.
Right.
Well, let's get into it, and we'll talk about something that has affected the selections this week, and that is the injury to Jared Polec. It looks like he's going to be out for 2 months. I believe he's been put on the long-term injury list with a bit of a foot injury. It seems to have been troubling him for a couple of weeks now, so it seems like it's the right decision to make.
It's a bit devastating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's frustrating because he had such a great sort of first 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's a long-term call we're making here, isn't it? We're weighing up the 10 weeks versus 10 years because he's still a very young player, obviously. We tried to manage it, and obviously it hasn't really pulled off in the end, and now we have to put him on the long-term injury list.
Mm.
Yeah, it's sad. Now, he had a foot injury at Brisbane, didn't he?
I think he had numerous injuries at Brisbane, so I guess that's the concern is, was last year a bit of a Indian summer, I guess. Last year where he played pretty much every game out of the blue, and we could expect these sort of injury layoffs every year, or is it just a chance accident?
Well, I remember, and I reckon I commented on this on the forums a couple of years ago, but there was a good article on Fox Sports News about 5 years ago where a doctor came out and was saying that you can only get stress fractures before the age of 20. So, and this was all about the Australian Test cricket bowlers at the time, and they should really rest their workload when they're young, because once you're over that age of 20, you can't get a stress fracture. So I don't know if that's still true or not, but I'm pretty sure Polec had foot injuries during his time at Brisbane. So I think the club's doing the right thing. We've seen these sort of injuries even cruel players' careers, like Egan at Geelong.
Yep.
So
that's true.
Why risk it, especially with our draw sort of just softening just a little bit? There's no reason
and
to.
And currently Jack Trengove as well.
Yes, and
Yeah,
well,
he's
his
another
is
one that pops to mind as well. He's a former schoolmate of mine. He went to school with him, so
Okay.
showing my age. Yeah, so I feel for him as well, just as well as I feel for Pollock, in all honesty.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all of us football supporters don't like to see any player go down with injury. I mean, happy to see a player like Hodge get rubbed out for being a thug, but we don't want to see any player get injured. It's just not part of what we want to see as football. So, and I'm sure Jared will get the best treatment and get looked after and will be back fit and firing, which creates an opportunity for one of our other young players to make a name for themselves, doesn't it?
It sure does. I guess the question is, do we add someone from the rookie list onto the senior list? Someone like Sam Gray, who's been in fantastic form in the SANFL, or Tom Logan, who's got the experience, or do we keep that spot open for when Cracker might need it when Frampton's back playing?
I say leave it for Cracker because he looks like he's the most ready-made AFL player of the bunch. But Logan might be serviceable, no doubt. But Cracker looks like he's in good form, so keep him in it, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah, I would probably keep it open, just with the influence of Cracker. Our list is still pretty fit and healthy. We don't have an excessive amount of injuries at this point in time. And I'd be really keen to keep Cracker in the side. I think he's doing a great job. So, and we always knew that there was probably going to be longer term injuries during the season. Every footy club gets it, unfortunately, and I guess this allows that opportunity for that window to stay open longer for Crack. So why not use that? We don't need to rush and play our hand too early.
So we might as well go straight to the preview for this Sunday's game. It starts at 4:10 p.m. It's Port versus West Coast at Adelaide Oval. We've got a very good win-loss record against the Eagles at 17-9, and we've won the last two as well. And last time we met, it was that 14-point victory in the West in round 5 last year. I guess, what are your expectations from this weekend?
A pumping.
Percentage booster?
Absolutely. I'm with you there, Chad. I want to see them pump the West Coast Eagles. And, I've been trawling through the stats a little bit. And then I've thrown them all out the window because I reckon the stats are absolutely useless. We've had the hardest draw of the year, and West Coast have had a pretty soft draw to the year. So I think you can't even look at the stats and try and make any comparables. I think the only one I took out of it, which I thought might have been any semblance of something, was the rebound 50s, where Port's averaging 48 rebound 50s to West Coast with a paltry 33, which shows there's not much run coming from their defence, which, again, I'm not sure is going to help them a lot. And they got smashed by us in the pre-season as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure you can take much out of that, given our last 2 weeks where we've just been bombarded with inside 50s.
And they haven't been.
That's what I mean. The stats are just almost useless for this game. You can't really... It's just... he's just looking at quality. And West Coast have got their injuries. So do you guys think Josh Kennedy's actually going to play?
If they can get him on the park, I think they definitely will, because, quite simply, they don't really have anyone else that can come in and fill his position as effectively as what he can. I mean, I think he's leading the Coleman at the moment, so he's certainly one of the best key forwards in the league. Great on the lead, fantastic set shot at goal. And, whilst they've got, Fraser McInnes and maybe, Scott Lycett that they might be able to put up there at a stretch. I mean, if they lose Kennedy, you can't really see them winning many games at all, to be honest.
Well, he had an interview today, kind of an interview. He was just harassed by the media as he was leaving training this evening or this afternoon. And he essentially said if he's feeling up to it tomorrow, if he pulls up all right tomorrow, no soreness in the elbow, he will play. If not, then they'll rest him. My gut feeling is he's probably 80-20 likely to play.
Yeah.
So he
They'll
looks
give him a jab and get him through.
He's going to be managed probably through the season, you'd imagine, and
I think so.
Until they're not in contention. and then what? Off they go, I guess, and send him off for surgery, which is a bit of a shame. And I mean, people are a bit worried about the matchup of Kennedy on Alapate, but I mean, Alapate's in such form. I mean, is he really going to be? Is he going to take to Alapate like he has some of the lesser names?
Well, look, Carlisle did a great job on him last year. Kept him to 4 marks and just the 1 goal. So, he's got good form against Kennedy. So I'd certainly back Bobby in to do the job once again. I guess for me, the only stat that really matters this week, and I spoke about it last night on the AFL review show, is that West Coast are just simply the ultimate flat track bully. They've played 16 games against top 6 teams in the last 2 and a bit years, and they haven't won a single one. They're 0-16 against the top 6, which is a absolutely horrid record.
Yeah, there's a saying: if you lose to West Coast, you're not going to make the 8. So
yeah,
it's pretty straightforward, isn't it, from the stats?
Yeah, you can't really get more flat track than that. That's for sure.
No. As you can tell, we're very, very excited and overwhelmed by the magnitude of this game that's coming up on our 1 of 4 run of Sunday twilight games. It's a very exciting fixture.
Well, it's I guess it's
And
with
on
all
Mother's
respect
Day.
to West Coast, on Mother's Day as well. With all respect to West Coast, I guess it's a bit of a letdown after our first 5 weeks where we played the top 5 teams of last year plus the Crows. I mean, it's I guess you're always going to get a little bit of a sense of a letdown when you come up against lesser teams, I guess. But hopefully the players don't have that same attitude.
You're being very polite. A bit of
I am being very polite.
A bit of a letdown. It's like being dropped from a 20-storey building.
Well, look, I don't mind West Coast. I like the way they play, and I think they've got some pretty exciting players. And you never know, they might be able to give us a good test and give us a bit of a run around. But you would hope not. You would hope that we can come out firing and get a pretty big lead in the first half and cruise in the second half, I guess.
Yeah, well, where's the game going to be won then, boys? What are we doing here? And does anyone want to tweet in their comments on their expectation from the game or how they're feeling? Are they as deflated as us? We sound bloody miserable about this game.
And feel free to call in as well.
Yes, Macca's happy to take calls, and I want to see if we can. I actually want to see if we can successfully take a call. So then, maybe if we can do it well, maybe we can teach other hosts like Al how to do it properly. Maybe. I'm joking, Al. I know it's still a sensitive issue for him if he is listening.
I'm not joking. Look, where's the game going to be won? For West Coast, I guess it's going to be won in the midfield. I mean, that's still probably their best area of the ground. I mean, Nat Nui's an absolute beast in the ruck, even though he's hopeless around the ground. I mean, they've got Andrew Gaff, who's probably in career best form at the moment. Matt Prudis has continued on his Brownlow winning form from last year, and Chris Maston, Luke Shuey, Dom Sheed. I mean, they're all in pretty good form at the moment. So that's where they might be able to get a bit of an advantage, and if they can win it out of the middle, which is something that we've really struggled to do in the first 5 rounds, then you never know. They might be able to get it forward and kick some quick goals and give us a bit of a game.
Yeah, I agree. The middle is the key area that we need to win in order to shut them out of the game. I mean, we've really struggled the past 2 weeks in particular, losing the clearances and thus conceding all those inside 50s that everyone keeps talking about. Wines out, Pollack out now. It's going to make it a lot tougher for us, but hopefully we have the depth to cover it, and hopefully we'll prove that we have the depth now as well.
That's it. Well, we should be saying hello to Nicholas Teal. Are you there, mate?
How you going, boys?
Yes! It worked.
Good work, Nick.
It worked perfectly today. Well done.
Oh, yes. We have solved
First
the
for
problems.
everything.
How was the talking footy tonight, Nick, down at the club?
It was packed out. Jackson selling his Shiloh clothing. It was great.
I was a bit disappointed that Jackson wasn't there in his new Vision top. I'll have to have a chat to him about
Have
that.
a bit of a word. Have a bit of a word to him for that.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was another tie again, so they actually did another kickoff to try and break the tie.
Has it ever happened where, because I noticed they kicked towards the Port store, Have they ever kicked the footy or handballed the footy and actually missed the signage and actually hit the window?
Not the players themselves.
No.
You would hope not.
You'd hope not, wouldn't you?
They would be playing if they missed the sign. I mean,
They could get nervous.
yeah, that's true. Some of the punters that Bazza calls up, they might miss the sign a little bit. I know once I almost did, but it hit the sign.
Well, Nicholas, what are your expectations of this weekend, mate?
I reckon it's going to be a massive blowout our way. I reckon we're going to be, they're sick of the inside 50s. They're going to handle them. And I reckon we'll get up by at least 10 goals. That's my call.
That's a fair call.
So it's going to be a bloodbath on Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope it's a Mother's Day massacre. That'd be great.
Nick's actually calling in, hoping that I'm going to change my mind and let him actually call in the Who Am I? And I hope you haven't been undermining this whole competition by telling everyone at the Port Club who the winner is and the call
I
is.
have kept my lips sealed. I promise you that, Rick.
Well done, mate. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, that's all good.
Look, guys, who are your danger men this week for West Coast?
Well, if Kennedy
Don't all start at once. That's all.
if Kennedy does play, I'm not really worried about him because I reckon one of our boys might accidentally bump that elbow and he'll be subbed straight off. So they're going to waste a sub that way, I reckon, if they play him. Other than that, it's not really that many that they have.
Is this a bit of an indictment on West Coast, the development? Because it feels like only a few years ago they had some great players that were coming through. In addition to Pritis, you had Maston and Gaff and Shuey, and they were going to be the next big midfield thing. And where are they? They're there, but they're not there. If that makes any sense.
It does. I mean, it was, 2012 they won their first 6 games, and I think 8 of their first 10 or something like that. And, they made a prelim in 2011, made the semis in 2012, and it's just been downhill from there. They've just lacked that development. The midfield is very one-paced. They lack skills. They have trouble rebounding from defence, and they're pretty sort of... I guess they only really look for Kennedy and Lecras up forward, especially now with Darling out of the side as well. I mean, that's a big blow for them.
We've had 2 tweets. Bevan's tweeted in saying that he reckons our tall forwards should be too tall for the West Coast backline, and he reckons Ryder's going to have a day out. And Catherine thinks, do we play worse when we're expected to win easily? And I can remember quite a few times me predicting big wins and we haven't got them. So hopefully we're not right, Catherine.
You are the kiss of death, mate.
Apparently they've got a
2013 comes to mind.
Yeah, they've got a Sam Butler who's only 187 centimetres on Ryder, according to their sheet there. So he might be right on the ball there.
Yeah. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, what we're putting up as key forwards now is it's going to be a challenge from nearly all teams to actually match up strongly against us.
Well, look, we've actually only won 1 game after the showdown in the last 3 years.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, we played North Melbourne last year away from home, and that's a bit of a bunny team. We lost to Essendon last year. We beat Gold Coast the year before that, and lost to Geelong at Geelong. So, it's probably one part of it's the teams that we've actually been playing, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, you have this huge game that you work really hard to win because you want to win the showdown, and I guess it's inevitable to suffer a little bit of a letdown, as we've just spoken about from us in the stands. Yeah,
that's very true. And I mean, I'm sure the players feel that sort of stuff too. And I like Bevan's another tweet to me saying that their best midfielders now playing for us boys. That's why there's a bit of a letdown. And I mean, what a gun he's turned into.
He's been a star this year for us, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
certainly has.
No doubt.
Hey, Macca, should I bring back out on Big Footy my infamous thread that I got bagged the crap out on? Who will be better?
The Ebert versus Dangerfield thread.
Ebert versus Dangerfield. Did I get shit canned for that one, buddy? Oh, that is ridiculous. I'd still argue that by the end of the career, it will be a very, very interesting debate.
Well, he's got Pritis, so that should be interesting.
Speaking of Dangerfield, though, I just want to say, how the hell did he get 6 votes in the Coaches Award last week?
I do
One
not
vote for
know.
each effective disposal, or what?
Oh, look, he played a very good game, and he could have played a brilliant game if he could have kicked straight.
He played a great game for us.
Well, you never know. Maybe Hinkley gave him 5.
Maybe. So they keep selecting him.
Oh,
It's awful, isn't it? So
Secretly inflating his value on the market.
I'm going to tweet Travis and our captain and see if he'll do a retweet. What do you reckon? What do you reckon our chances are?
Pretty slim, I would say.
Pretty slim. Come on,
Yeah.
I've got it. Jarman's ignored me. Jackson's ignored me. Brendan's ignored me. I'll have to get one before the end of the night.
Go Kane Corns, he's always active on Twitter.
Is he? All right, I'll try that after our captain courageous. I'll mute my mic quickly so you don't hear me typing.
Well, okay. Chad, who are your dangerous players for West Coast this week?
Oh, man, since the midfield is dangerous, and this is, of course, given Kenny does not play, because I think he's obviously the number one danger man, given his how frequently they score using him. I'd say Pritis in the midfield, and Duggan, their new recruit this year, who's been probably so far the best player of this year's draft, or last year's draft, end of last year's draft. He definitely can pop up and hurt us, so hopefully we can shut him down.
I just think we're going to be far too tall up forward. I think, as the tweet before said, I mean, you would expect McGovern to go to Schultz, which should be a pretty good matchup. McGovern will certainly be able to, overpower him. I guess he's a bit stronger. But then they really sort of go downhill from there. I mean, Schofield on West off, you would think that would fall in our favour, and they don't really have a genuine matchup for Patrick Ryder.
No, they don't. That's going to be their genuine challenge, isn't it? I mean, how's our ruck combos going to go against Nick Nat?
I think they'll probably struggle in terms of hit-out numbers, but I'm hoping that our midfield can play to that, as they've played to that all year. So,
has he improved? I haven't seen much of West Coast. Has Nick Nat improved his around the groundwork and his marking, or is he still a little bit off with that?
He has taken 4 marks in 5 games this year.
Right.
wow.
So he's even worse than Lobe, which is something.
He's very hyped
Which is
up.
probably harsh on Lobe, because Lobe around the ground is actually pretty good. He just can't mark.
And he's only played 2 games.
Yeah, well, that's it. But Nat Nui, I mean, he's probably been quite a disappointment, really, if you follow his career. Despite the fact that he made All-Australian a couple of years ago, I mean, I don't think he's the player that everyone expected him to be.
No, and I think
He's no Jack Watts, but he's close.
I think that's the whole argument of natural ability versus athletic ability, isn't it? You know, you've got the great player that can read the play and just judge the ball, and then you've got the athletic bling of a Nick Nat, but doesn't really have that judgment. And I think it just if you can get it to connect, you get a superstar. But how often do you see that end up connecting?
Against bottom 10 sides.
I mean, his best is just phenomenal, but he just rarely shows it.
Well, what do you do? Luckily, we didn't pick him. He was all the rage in the draft, wasn't he? But anyway, I'd rather have Ryder and Lobe, to be honest.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to be man of the match for us on Mother's Day?
Man of the match.
I want to say Ebert just for the lols.
I reckon it might be Brad Ebert, to be honest. I reckon he's had a fantastic start to the year, and he's probably been a little bit underrated, especially by me. There's always been someone else that's sort of bobbed up, but he's getting a lot of ball and he's playing hard football and gut-running football as per normal. And it was really similar to last year, don't you reckon, Macca, with Brad Ebert? He had a great first 11 games, and then after that Sydney game, he must have copped an injury and sort of dropped off.
Yep, no, that's good recalling there. He certainly did start the season last year very well, and he's just a fantastic runner, and he accumulates the ball, and his disposal has improved out of sight, I think, in the last sort of 12 months.
Yeah, no doubt. His first half last week was pretty phenomenal, 22 touches. He was clearly our best player in that first half, and we were kind of hanging on, but still quite in front comfortably on the scoreboard. He definitely helped us out.
I'm going to say Patrick Ryder is going to kick 6 goals this week in a best on ground performance.
6 goals. That is huge.
Big call.
Well, how about Schultze then? How many is he going to kick?
15.
15. 15.
No, I think Schultz might be
pedal.
well held. I think Schultz might be well held this week because McGovern's a very tough opponent. He reads the play really well, and I think he might be held to maybe under 3. I'm going to say, and I think Westhoff might kick 1 or 2, but Patrick Ryder's going to be the star this week.
Or Schultz maybe play a decoy role to facilitate Ryder being the star this week.
It's possible.
That is possible.
Yeah, lead the key defender out of the play to exploit the smaller defenders and let Westhoff and Ryder have the showtime.
Well, look, in the thrill of discussing this game, we've actually forgotten to name the teams. And obviously we've spoken about Polek, he's out. Who do we expect to come in? Because we've named 4 players into the side. Obviously 3 will be emergency, but Amon, O'Shea, Archie and Impey, one of them's going to come in. Which one do you take?
Probably Archie for me, but I would not be surprised if O'Shea came in.
Yeah, I can't see O'Shea coming in just because of matchups. I think he might stay out of the side. I think like for like, I'm expecting Amon to come in for his debut game, which would be fantastic. But I would also like to see Impey back in the side. I think he started the season really well. Unfortunately, he got injured, and I think he deserves a spot in the side as well.
I reckon the Arch. I wouldn't rush Impey back. I'd give him a week off, err on the side of caution, and reward Arch for his for his performances in the 2 games that he played, and I think he came back well last week. So give him another shot.
All right, and for my last comment, and I'll let you guys go after this, I reckon Amon's coming in. That's what we called last night on the Mega Show, so that's where I reckon that.
Well, he was emergency last week. He played 2 really good games the 2 weeks before that. I would love to see him come in. I think he's the perfect replacement for Polek. He'd be able to run up and down that wing. He can kick goals. He delivers the ball really well. I'd like to see him get a debut, and I think coming up against West Coast at home would be a pretty perfect debut for him.
Yeah, it would, but I'm biased, and I'd like to see the Arch get another shot. I think the Arch.
Me too. Yeah.
I think the Arch needs more opportunities, to be honest, than what Amon does at this point in time.
Okay.
No worries. All right, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for calling in, mates.
No worries, guys.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
It's not that hard to call in, so maybe we can get someone else to have the courage to call in. And Catherine reckons Brad Ebert's going to be man of the match as well because he's her fantasy captain in absence of Lewis. And WinGOAT party and mark of the year by Scott.
Ebert for 150 Dream Team points, please.
150 Dream Team points. Nice. I don't even play Dream Team anymore. It's too complicated now.
Look, Scott on Twitter has said WinGOAT to have a party and a mark of the year as well. WinGOAT. Hashtag WinGOAT. That needs to trend.
Jeez, get it right.
Who's going to win, boys?
Port. By plenty.
Is that a real question?
For the sake of the podcast, yes, it is.
Port by plenty. I reckon Port by 68 points.
Oh.
11 goals.
11 goals. I like it.
Well, I'm being conservative, and I've got us by 8 goals.
Okay.
Right.
That's conservative.
Macca.
I'm going to say we might suffer a bit of a letdown this week, coming up, the post-showdown hangover, and I think we will win by 4 points.
4 points. Would you think the showdown was such a brutal affair last week that it would have affected the boys physically for this week in their recovery?
I think not necessarily just the showdown, but the previous 5 games against outstanding opposition and very tough opposition, where the previous 3 weeks we've maybe struggled a bit in the second half, and I think maybe mentally we might suffer a little bit of a letdown this week, and I hope not, but I think it might be closer than expected.
That being said, West Coast still need to win the game if they want to win.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So what are you
But
saying?
I'm still saying Ryder by 6 goals.
So you're saying 4 points to Port.
Yep.
So what are the supporters going to be like post game and the day after on all the internet forums and everything, and expectations if we only win by 4 points? Do you think there's going to be a little bit of backlash there?
I think it'll probably be similar to what we saw after the Melbourne game, where it was a bit of relief and a bit of frustration that we didn't win by more.
Interesting call. Different situation, though, to be fair. The players were in a bit of a tougher situation with the workloads and obviously in some pretty bad form, whereas I wouldn't say we're in a horrible form, but the differential in inside 50s is a bit of a concern as of the past few weeks. Are you guys reading anything into that at all, or is that just given a positive or accurate kicking in front of goals and the opposition's inaccurate kicking in front of goals?
I think it's definitely a concern because, as Hinkley said after the game last week, I mean, you know, last year we were one of the best teams in the league in terms of limiting the opposition to inside 50s. And this year we are significantly worse at that. We're one of the worst in the league. So, you know, to give up, 70-odd inside 50s 2 weeks running is not a good stat. And it certainly needs to tighten up.
Are the midfield not working hard enough defensively? Is it our clearances? What do you pinpoint it down to?
I think it's...
What a combination.
I think against Hawthorn it was probably midfield work. I think against the Crows it was more that we just kept turning the ball over and we couldn't deal with their forward press in their forward half of the ground, which meant every time we tried to clear the ball it just kept coming back in. And I think those inside 50 stats against the Crows were maybe a little bit inflated given their shoddy disposal inside 50. Yeah, given the style of play and their poor disposal coming inside 50.
And also our poor disposal going outside of defensive 50 as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that statement pretty much. With the Hawthorn game being there, the work rate in the fourth quarter in particular was pretty poor, trying to get the ball out of our defensive 50. And same being said for the Adelaide game, it was rather woeful getting the ball out. So hopefully we can bring that back up. And West Coast apparently, according to their fans, play a similar style to Adelaide, but I haven't quite seen that yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I think they're pulling your leg on that one, I reckon. What do you reckon?
Yeah, raise an eyebrow there.
With the inside 50s, the concern, like I said, bleeding on for the last week and a half, it's a bit of an issue, but I just want to see... I just want to see more games against more opponents to see if it's anomalies. I think there might be a bit of a secret squirrel strategy in our game plan, depending on the teams that we're playing. And I mean, Hawthorn like to do sort of a press zone as well, and so do Adelaide. And there's no coincidence with both of those. We've leaked more inside 50s. Against the other teams, it's been more comparable. So... our reckons that you guys are hogging the show and not letting me get a word in tonight. So that's probably, there's a lot of people that would be happy with that, though, I'd imagine.
You sound busy, Rick.
I am.
I'm doing other things.
I'm trying to tweet and trying to get someone from Port to bloody acknowledge that we exist. Much to my disgust, no one's willing to do it. And I'm listening. I'm enjoying the show. It's good. I've got to say, I'm really struggling. It's not the next 8 weeks are going to be a tough grind, aren't they? I'm really
sharpen up, Rick.
I'm looking forward to the G. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed, Macca. I'm actually very disappointed. I had Nick make us a great sound clip and I had this outrageous comment lined up, and you're black banning it. You're taking control. It would have been a great little segment, and I reckon there's a reason why you're not allowing this segment to go ahead tonight.
Well, if you want to bring it up again for the third time, then feel free.
Well, there's probably a lot of people new to Big Footy that don't even know the origins of your thoughts. It's as the Mecca of Port Adelaide, I think people are entitled to to know what you really think.
Well, that's okay. If you want to bring up what I thought 15 years ago when I was 18 years old, then that's perfectly fine.
I don't know. I just think it's hilarious. So now we're talking in-house. So I guess I won't read
Who am
the
I?
comment.
Who am I?
Who am I? Who are you? All right. Call in. The clue tonight is they're a life member. That narrows it down.
They've kicked between 200 and 400 goals. They're a life member. They followed Richo. They've got a trophy.
Richo follows me.
Richo follows me. They've got a trophy.
Yeah. Born in
and
66.
They were born in 1966.
You got to call in.
Call in, people.
Elaine, I know you were keen. You got to call in, Elaine. All right, let's see.
People are going to be kicking themselves when they work out who it is.
If no one calls in, well, then it just carries over to next week when someone might call in. So, I don't care. The longer it takes...
I think people need to concentrate on the Richo follows me clue. Because I think that's a good one.
Shush! Don't give it away.
I'm not giving anything away, Rick.
You just want to give up my money, don't you? That's
These
what
people don't know who it is. It's okay.
That's good. That's what we want. It's supposed to be a challenge.
Cheer, cheer the black and the white. Honour the Magpies day and by night.
And look, let's talk about the SANFL. It's Port versus Sturt this week at Alberton Oval on Saturday. Once again, you can listen to it on Life FM if you can't make it to the game. We've got a very good win-loss record against Sturt. We've won 176. They've won 97. We've won the last two games. We'll probably see... we might see maybe one player come out, maybe Archie. O'Shea and Archie are out of the side at the moment, but you would expect either them or Amon to come back in terms of dependent on who gets named in the AFL team. I guess we are hoping for a win this week, boys.
We should be, but are we?
You would hope so. Can we get it done against Sturt?
Are we disappointed with the Maggies? Should they be better or performing better?
Look, they're a very young team this year. They've lost a bit of experience from last year. I think they're probably performing as expected. I guess for me, the issue is about maybe concentration, because our first halves the last 2 weeks have been outstanding. Our second halves have been diabolical in the last 2 weeks. So I think they just need to maybe put their heads down, concentrate a little bit more and make sure they get the job done.
I was going to say 2 losses in 2 weeks. Did we even lose two games at all last year? Jeez.
Yeah, we lost. I think we lost about 6 last year.
Yeah. It was a joke, of course, but anyway.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, we're in a bit of bad form, aren't we, in the Maggies? And yeah, it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Especially given Pollock's injury, we need someone to step up and say, pick me for the AFL side so I can solidify myself in the starting 22, and that hasn't really happened the past 2 weeks especially, so a bit disappointing.
But you said we're a young side, but we've still got plenty of experience in there, I would have thought, Macca, to probably get over the line against a game like the Eagles from the position that we're in.
Yeah, as I said, I think it's a concentration issue. I think maybe they expect the results as we got them last year, and it's just not happening at the moment.
Is there something going on in Paradise?
Overconfidence?
I don't think so. Yeah, probably a little bit of overconfidence. I think, I really want to see our key forwards fire this week. I think they've been pretty disappointing so far this year, and Hopefully one of Butcher, Harvey, and Shaw can kick a bag of goals this week and put their name in the lights, I guess. But I think the game's probably going to be won in the midfield again. I think a midfield of Somerton, Stewart, Sammy Gray, Jakey Need, Tommy Logan running through there. It's a very, very strong midfield, and I think they just need to concentrate a bit more and win a bit more of the hard ball.
Do you think as a team they've got the passion to win?
I hope so, because a lot of these guys are playing for their AFL careers as well. So, you struggle in the lower league, there's a chance you're going to get dropped at the end of the year. Simple as that.
Just asking. I would have thought they'd be a little bit better than what they are.
Are we overstating it a little bit? Because they have won 2 and lost 2. So they haven't been disastrous. We've been well in front at half-time in the 2 games we've lost. And we've played probably, 3 poor quarters for the season.
I think it's the fade-outs that's concerning in particular.
Have you noticed a trend between the fade-outs at SANFL level and maybe our fade-outs or poor second halves at AFL level? Is it a fitness issue?
Well, we were saying the same thing last year as well, weren't we? Where we were questioning whether there's a bit of a correlation between the A's and the B's, and now it's coming up again. It could be possible.
I'm not so sure, but it's a small sample size, as you said before, but it is eyebrow-raising and concerning.
So who's going to win this week? I'm going to say Port by 32 points.
Yeah, I reckon Port by, I don't know, I'll go 5 points. I reckon we'll just fall over the line.
Yeah, I have Port by 8 points, so yeah, similar theory to you, Rick.
Yeah, good work. When does the spotlight get turned on Mitch Harvey and Mason Shaw?
Pretty soon, I would think. I mean, Shaw's got maybe a reason because he didn't really have much of a pre-season, hasn't played a lot of footy so far this year. And look, Mitch Harvey's been really good in parts, but again, we're still playing him as this ruckman, and I'm just not sure it's his natural position.
No, it doesn't look like it is. It doesn't.
So
he had a pretty good first half last week. He kicked 2 goals in the first quarter and then just fell completely out of the game. So.
Is his engine or his tank a concern?
I think it's always going to be a concern. I think he's a little bit sluggish across the field, but yeah, I think that's going to be something that he has to deal with.
So if you guys could choose and you knew that they were going to become AFL stars, where would you put Mitch Harvey and Mason Shaw?
I think Mitch Harvey's a natural full forward, and I think Mason Shaw's probably that sort of spot in between centre half forward and full forward. I think he's a bit more of a centre half forward. And but look, I mean, you look at our forward line at AFL level, and Schultz is he's over 30. Westhoff is pretty close as well. It drops it drops quite a long way after that, and these guys need to start to stand up a little bit and push for selection and take some pressure off the guys at AFL level.
Absolutely. I still like Logan Austin as a forward. I reckon he'll evolve into a forward player for us.
Okay.
Well, you can't pigeonhole him already in his first year and go, what is he, 6'5"? No, he's only going to be a defender. Why can't he be a forward?
No, that's true. I just think he looks more of a natural defender. But you are absolutely correct. It doesn't mean he can't be a forward. And look, Catherine has tweeted in. Norwood game was a top heavy side in the rain. Eagles were the inside form at the moment, so you can't really read too much into our form. Which I guess is also fair enough. And Elaine has also tweeted in and said that she doesn't actually have Skype, so she can't call. So maybe next week.
She needs to download it. It's not hard, Elaine. It's pretty quick to download, create an account, and you can get on there and give it a go. But I think Catherine's made a good point about being top heavy. Is maybe the one detriment to our Magpies side that we maybe have an imbalance in our list for the Magpies due to the weighting of AFL players on the list, and so we don't necessarily have complete team balance.
Yeah. And I think the fact that we have to play AFL listed guys in the seniors, we're not allowed to play them in the reserves, also has a bit of a mark on that as well, I think.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I'm a bit disappointed. Well, actually, I'm not, because it's $100 out of my money that can wait another week in my bank account before I have to give it away. So I'm pretty stoked with that. So feel free.
All in good time.
I'll use the voucher myself. Go down and I think I might go get one of those port mugs when I'm down there next. I was eyeing it off last time. The beer mugs.
Okay.
I reckon they look pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Yes. Well, that's good. So, Audi Club, Macca, what are you expecting?
Well, if I can make it, because I did forget it was Mother's Day on Sunday. So if I can make it, I don't know. I don't know too much about the Audi Club. So if I am able to go, I'm certainly looking forward to it and seeing what it's like. I've heard really good things about it.
Haven't you learnt the way to get around Mother's Day in football is you invite your mum to go to Mother's Day football?
Yeah, she's not a football watcher.
Well, then you take her out to dinner at the Audi Club in the restaurant there. You book a table and you take her to the $100 a head dinner or whatever it is, and shout her a beautiful meal, and then you try and watch the footy out the corner of your eye while you're drinking a few beers and eating the meals there. The Audi Club's a great place. It's but remembering all the money from the Audi Club goes to the SMA and actually doesn't go to the club. So that's one of the trade-offs, I guess.
That's it. No, I'm definitely looking forward to it. If I can go, it's certainly going to be an experience, and I think it's in the prime watching spot for football. So yeah, it should be good. Awesome.
And we've got our locker room, our lounge tickets still up for grabs. All you have to do is subscribe. I was really impressed with Sean last night. How smooth was Sean in his intro to that lounge competition? He showed us up hands down. So
he's a legend. He's a professional.
He is a professional. So portfanradio.com/win, or just go on the mailing list and subscribe. And what we'll do is I'll export it into an Excel document, and we'll do a random sort, and whoever's at top of the list will get to join us in 2 weeks' time, I think, Macca.
Is it 2 weeks' time already?
I reckon the Richmond game is in 2 weeks. Yes, it is. The 24th of May.
Wow. Look at that.
Unbelievable. And, I don't mind the Sunday twilight because I can get half tanked and then go out the city and get more tanked and have some dinner and try and find some opposition coaches and players to harass, and all good.
I can't get tanked because I've got to drive 250 kilometres home after the game. But apart from that, I'm still going to enjoy it.
So how do you feel then as a country supporter?
Basically interstate. Yeah.
Having a Sunday twilight game. Is that the worst time slot for you as a country supporter?
Look, it's suboptimal, I'll say that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's probably the worst possible time slot. Just because of work the next day and all that sort of stuff. But if I was living in Adelaide, I'd really enjoy the Sunday twilight game, I think.
And shall we indulge the big footy listeners that might be listening in tonight? I know REH isn't. He ignores us. He'd rather watch Dermy Brereton on league teams, heaven forbid, than listen to his own dedicated port radio station. It's disgraceful.
Right.
That's true. That's true. You can put one on mute and listen to us. Or you can put us on mute and just watch league teams.
What value... Put us on mute. That's very funny. What value would you get out of listening to Dermy, honestly? I mean, what the hell does he know? But
Dicko, that campaigner, he tipped West Coast to beat us.
Who did?
Really?
Dicko? Yeah, the ex-Hawthorn player.
Oh.
Which ex-Hawthorn?
Yeah, that was the response from everyone else in the panel. Everyone was like, really? You're tipping West Coast? Wow.
Sorry, well, I guess I tipped us by 4 points, so I shouldn't really be that surprised.
If we lose, if West Coast lose, that is. And stick it to him, but he's that confident West Coast will get up over us. So
Dixon is he's got a Perth connection though, doesn't he? I reckon he might be from Perth or...
No, he doesn't rate us. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Plus
anyway...
he's Ben Dixon, so...
Yeah, who cares? But I was just going to entertain the Big Footy listeners about... We had our 1 millionth post today.
We did.
On Big Footy the Port Board.
Typically...
Yay!
Cheers Dylan won it, of course.
Yeah, but does it really count when you post every 6 seconds trying to hit that 1 millionth post? Yeah, it's just over the top. But isn't it amazing?
I tried pretty hard to get that, but I missed
Did
out.
you?
Yeah.
Monumentous. I still don't know how Portia's got like over 40,000 bloody posts. That is just ridiculous.
I'm closing in on 50,000, mate.
That is, mate, it's ridiculous, Macca. How the hell do you do it?
Well, I've been on there for 15 years, that's why.
Yeah, I know, but that's a lot of posts, man. Honestly. I mean, I've really hit a logjam with my posting.
Some people have got over 50,000 and they've been on Big Footy for about 3 years.
Yeah, I've got 14,000. And I've been on this for, 8 years. But I've really hit a roadblock. I've really slowed down recently. But I thought that was impressive. And then I liked the thread, the first thread that was up for Big Footy. And Macca was on there, like, in that very first thread. It's amazing, Macca. You've stood...
I have been there. I have been here since the beginning, mate. Literally since the day one of the Port Board on Big Footy.
So, Chad, how old are you?
I'm 23 now, and I'm pulling up to the big 150 posts. Big milestone for me.
Look, it's a slow burn, mate. It's all right.
That inexperience compared to you two.
23. So, what, you would have been 8 when Macca first posted on the Big Footy forum, and the quality of his posting was amazing. Did you realise that? Even back then.
Well, I didn't know that because I couldn't really use a computer when I was 8, but
because he was
I'm
8.
sure it would have been good.
Did you realise all the way back then that Macca actually hated the power?
I did not hate the power. I wouldn't have joined a power forum if I hated the power, Rick.
Outrageous, isn't it?
How dare you?
Unbelievable.
Outrageous.
Ludicrous.
It's an outrageous comment, but he thought the Magpies was the real Port Adelaide and the power was the imposters. Sorry, Macca.
So did many other people, Rick, which is the whole reason behind the One Club campaign.
I had to bring it up. It was just very funny.
He's not the only person to feel that way, so...
No, I know. It's just comedy.
Thanks, Chad.
Outrageous comment. That's going to be our new section or segment every week. Outrageous comment. So if you find an outrageous comment on Big Footy or on Facebook, let us know what it is, and we're going to have a designated segment to outrageous comment. And by all means, it is tongue-in-cheek. So when we take the piss out of someone about this outrageous comment, don't take it personally. And feel free. There's probably about 14,000 outrageous comments by me. And I'm more than happy for people to bring up every single one of them. I don't care. I'll cop them all on the chin, like Pueckett.
I will be doing it one at a time, mate. So we will be here for another 56 years.
Well, you've got
just to clarify, is this Port only posters or just in general?
No, we'll go in general. I mean, it should have a Port-related theme to it. Like, I'd actually go Ben Dixon picking West Coast to beat Port.
Yeah, that was it for this week.
That is an
That's pretty
outrageous comment. Where is our bloody intro music, Macca? That would have been great. That's even more outrageous than Macca bagging out that the Magpies are the real Port. To come out and say that shows he's got no credibility as a football journalist, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, we'll give Benny Dixon the inaugural outrageous comment of the week for that one. And what about the other one I noticed, which in the media was Bomber Thompson on the AFL 360 was asked the question, Boak or Dangerfield, and he was quite categoric with his stance that he'd take Travis Boak.
Well, you just wouldn't you? He's got the runs on the board. And whilst Dangerfield might get more on the bowl, he might be maybe a bit more explosive. I think Boak absolutely smashes him out of the park in terms of his ability to change a game, his leadership, all that sort of stuff. Boak wins hands down.
Well, it shows what he valued most in a player, in a team. He obviously valued the leadership attribute far more than the explosiveness of Dangerfield. But that being said, he rates both players pretty highly as well. He wasn't knocking on Dangerfield whatsoever, unlike me previously.
Chad, now you're just ruining it. It sounded a lot better when we were just knocking on Dangerfield. Now you're making it too sensible.
Speaking of outrageous comments, though, I remember 2 weeks ago before he played the Hawthorn, Hartlett came out in the media saying that the Hawks pretty much bullied teams into submission, and he got absolutely smashed from everyone about it, saying, Hawks don't bully people. What are you talking about? And then this week they come out and 2 suspensions from some pretty dirty tactics, which you could define as bullying, I'd add, as well. So, interesting. No one's come out to save Hartlett for that.
No.
Or back him up.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
So
let's wrap up this outrageous podcast.
Well, I just want to say it's I'm a bit disappointed. No one's got the courage to call in, or maybe people don't know what the Who Am I is. Maybe I've got them stumped.
Well, Alex Hale has sent me a message on Skype and said, I think you have us stumped at the moment. I'd call in, but I don't have any idea.
Okay.
So we'll think about a clue next week, which might help things along a little bit. There we go.
Well, Timmy G loves him.
This is true. You've probably just given it away there. So
What? No, not really. Well, if you scroll through, if someone's dedicated enough to listen to the podcast where we've had Timmy G on it, I'm pretty sure Timmy G spoke about this person once.
Nah, too much hard work.
There you go. You got to work for it.
That's it. All right, boys. Chad, thanks for coming back on, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Will you
Well
be
done,
at the game
Chad.
on the weekend?
Yes, I will be there.
Nice. Good work, Rick, as always, mate.
I'll be there. I might even go to that Argentinian restaurant across the road afterwards at La Boca. That looked really good. I was there for a couple of drinks on Wednesday night, so I might book in a table and go for dinner there afterwards.
Good stuff.
Sounds good. I'm
All right, boys.
excited.
Indeed.
Have a good night. Power!
Gun pair.
Spears it inside 50. Schultz comes hard. Flicks it out. Boats. It'd be appropriate. The captain. That is gold class. Leadership agrees with Travis Boat. He's better than ever.